So I've been working on this machine for a while now. This machine originally was going to be a budget gaming machine for a video, but after a while of me playing with it, it didn't turn out so budget anymore. I ended up adding a lot more things to it than I originally wanted to, including the Fantex vertical mount, which is in another video which I'll put to the top. And over time, it's actually something that I've really started to play with more than anything. It's not going to be used as a budget gaming machine anymore. What I'm going to do is, because I like it so much, I'm going to be using it in the actual lab, and it's going to be running some of the screens around that we're going to have mounted soon. So the next item that I wanted to do to this, and recently what I did do is I started doing a bit of custom cabling. So I've got all the ATX power cables now all custom braided. The graphics card didn't look very good in the system, so I wanted to actually do some work on that graphics card. As you can see, this is the graphics card we're going to be using. This is a Radeon RX 560. It's the 4GB version from Gigabyte, and I've already started doing some work on it. So if you can see from the front, I've already changed the red into gold. We just painted them, and the next thing that I want to do to it is actually add some LED lighting. So stay tuned and I'll show you how that's done. Now, adding LED lighting to any item is actually pretty simple. On your system, you're going to have lots of different power options, from your Molexes with your 5 volt and your 12 volt to also your 3.3 volts if you can actually tap into one of them. But most systems actually come with some kind of controller for existing RGB, or a fan system that you've added comes with that controller. Now, you could simply install something like this. This is just a simple LED strip. It's a 5 volt and it comes fitted with a USB cable. Now, you can pick these up for as little as £2 or £3 from eBay, so they're not that expensive. And you could simply just change the end and tap into a Molex that exists. Unfortunately, that will only give you just one colour lighting. This one in particular is white. Now, we want to be able to tap into an existing controller that's actually in this system on the back. It's a Cool Moon controller, and it currently controls the fans and a custom LED strip that we put in there. So what we've done is we've managed to pick up a strip of RGB LEDs. Now, these are a little bit more expensive, not massively. I think there's about £5 or £6 for a half a metre, and they come with specific plugs on the end. Now, these are a 3-pin plug. And what I've done is I've created an adapter from that 3-pin to the Cool Moon custom pin. Now, usually these are 6 or 4, but I've managed to salvage an old fan that broke, cut the plug off of it and wired it up to do that. Now all we need to do is fit the LEDs into the graphics card, making sure that the plug is visible, attach it to the system and plug it into the controller. Now, the first thing we need to do is make sure that our LEDs and our adapter actually work. So I've got another Cool Moon controller here, which is a spare one, and I've got our strip and our cable here. So what we do is we just attach it up, plug it into the controller, and hit the power supply. And as you can see, it actually works straight out of the box. I'm not sure how many LEDs a Cool Moon controller can actually support in one single strip, but I've had them up to half a metre and they work fine. I'm pretty sure they go pretty far. So now that we know that that's all working, what we need to do is actually fit this LED strip into the shroud of the graphics card. Now, I've already taken the screws out of this shroud, but generally you can just access them from the top and from the bottom, and they go straight into the heatsink and they come off just like that. Unfortunately, with this specific graphics card as well, the plug for the fans is actually underneath the heatsink, so we're going to have to take the heatsink off anyway to be able to remount the fans. Now, that's as simple as just taking the screws out the back, but we'll also need to make sure that we re-thermal paste everything before it goes back together. So once everything's apart, we're ready to move on to the next piece. So with the shroud in your hand, I'm going to just have something for it to lean on at the moment. These strips actually come with a pre-sticky back, so we can take that sticky back off and then fit the LEDs all the way around the system. We'll take this out of the way first, so we'll just move these wiring for the fans out, and then we'll put that back later so they don't get in the way. It's a good idea to make sure that your graphics card is actually clean at the time so that it can actually stick to stuff. This one's been apart a few times, so it's reasonably clean as it is. Now, this shroud is actually mounted that way on, and I want the plug to come out of the bottom here. So we'll start sticking it from here, and we'll work all the way around to get to the end. And if it's too long, you can just simply cut off whichever LED you don't want. And once the LEDs are fit, you want to just make sure that you go around the edge, just making sure that the sticky is actually stuck down all the way around. Now we got kind of lucky on this graphics card shroud because it actually has some pressing clips that you can actually push behind, and that way it will secure it in and it won't fall out really, even if the sticky comes loose. And there's actually a lip all the way around so you can hide it from the outside, and then you can't see the actual LEDs from the outside. And then it's just a simple job of putting it back together. So now that we've got the card back together again, we can see our little plug is sticking out the bottom here. This stops it from having actually a big long cable coming out of it if you wanted to do it that way. You could do it that way, but you'd have to remember to always unplug the cable before you remove the graphics card. We just need to give this a test now. So we plug in our adapter cable into our Cool Moon controller, plug it into the adapter at the bottom, which you won't be able to see in the case once it's done. Turn on the power supply, and as you can see, the lights all work fine. Our graphics card now has LED lighting that matches all the rest of the system, as it's using the existing controller that's built in. Just simply using a control, we can change the colour of the system to anything that we want, and it all matches in and it looks great. So if you like this video, make sure you hit the like and make sure you subscribe to the channel to see further videos going forward, and we'll see what kind of other updates we can make to this machine going forward.